now has customers like you have Credirax, you had Capital One, you had lots of big banks in the United States. So I had the opportunity to really build the core technology in AI, machine learning, and data processing from a research and product perspective. So I had the opportunity to really build the core technology in AI, machine learning, and data.
That's okay.
I'm hearing myself. Okay.
That's because you opened up the Google stream as well, and there's a 20-minute delay. 20 seconds.
I did.
Oh, someone did.
Okay.
Okay.
No, somebody has it.
And then I joined OutSystems, and at OutSystems, I'm bootstrapping the AI group, and with a very ambitious goal of using AI not just to help our customers, which we're also trying to do, but to how can we use AI to accelerate software development, make it easier, make it more accessible for people. So this is a very emerging area of research. So we have a research team internally, and we work together with product teams, product designers, product managers, engineers to push forward the state of the art here. And we're doing some very interesting stuff with leveraging graph neural networks, not just using machine learning. So we say we're an AI group, and we actually don't use just machine learning. We use automated reasoning together with that. Unsupervised learning, lots of different technologies and applications to face a lot of the challenges we have when dealing with code. And that's kind of what I'm going to probably be talking about, how we leverage automated reasoning together with deep learning, what kind of deep learning techniques we use, what challenges we see, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, I think this is totally up your street.
It sounds like it, for sure.
Yeah,
I can see you smile. It's so much fun. Henry,
if everybody else has kind of introduced themselves, maybe I can also introduce myself. I'm, as Peter said, I'm Henri from Finland and from a company called Sentinel. What we are doing is hyperscalable cloud testing platforms. So what we're also using is, surprise, AI and machine learning and all of the statistical analytics methods to create systems where you can actually just use the UI and just use the UI graphics to do all of your end-to-end testing without going onto the code side. So you were talking about low-code platforms, so that's an interesting thing, as typically that code is inherently a bit more difficult to test as it's generated code. So this could be one touching point in there. And I also previously worked in doing a PhD and software engineering analytics, on analyzing what kind of architecture decisions startups have to make, and which of those decisions kind of correlate with startups progressing really fast on their track and all of that. But there really wasn't any tools to do that kind of analysis. So what we ended up doing in the university was this tool called Illuminate, an open source tool to data mine testing data, data mine Jet, data mine all of these software engineering metadata that is available from all of the different projects. And I kind of ended up taking all of those tools with me into Sentinel. So what we've now been building is this quality intelligence for DevOps platform to kind of predict the quality of your software releases even before you release them, based on all the metadata that we can dig out of your software project. So that's what I'm going to talk about in my talk.
That's super interesting, by the way. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think for many of the people we speak to, the technology is sometimes black box. So of course there's sometimes an issue with trust, sometimes an issue with transparency. So we have to overcome that. And I think also helping people understand realistic outcomes. Sometimes people think there's a green button, and when you click it, their whole business is transformed entirely, and it takes no time at all. And of course we have to set those expectations as well. And then I think from all of you guys being involved in AI, I think the ability to take models and outcomes and incorporate those into an actual business process so you're delivering real value at the end is a leap sometimes that people find difficult to make. So if somehow we can impress those points on the audience, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think still most of the value in AI is still in PowerPoint, but...
Well, you say that, but I mean, Mikey, you and I were talking about, I don't want to name drop, but you and I were talking about a company that starts with B, and it's for you to say if you want to mention that company by name or what. But I mean, both the low-code aspects that Antonio was talking about, and also the sort of testing approach that Henry was, especially maybe the testing approach. I mean, that's so applicable to the case that you described to me, Mikey.
Yeah, you're talking this mic. Yeah, I think one of the things that I find really surprising is, which is what I'm going to talk about, is the lack of human empathy, which is sort of, you can get into all the who's on the spectrum and all that stuff about IT professionals, but I'm not here to do a psychological talk. What I am interested in is to understand whether people really get buy-in into a process, whether they really, it's an old word that I hate using now, but whether they can break down the product and therefore break it down into little projects, i.e. agile, but can you actually deliver something that demonstrates to people you're going to do what you said they were going to do? We had this massive Monte Carlo simulation going on within this pricing engine, hugely influential, great idea, but we lost all the quants because they just weren't they weren't being bought into where this was going to fit. We didn't have the traders on board because we were looking to replace them, clearly, but there's still role for traders within pricing, even if it's all quanted. So, you know, it's fascinating for me what you said about most of it still on PowerPoint. I think most of it's still in people's heads. I mean, they just haven't even got as far as writing it down in a simplified, and that's why I love this idea of pictorial testing, you know, pictorial mapping of how you actually assemble code. And you know, I was talking to Peter about this company you may have heard of called Bosch, and I was involved in doing some work for them on a big Nissan Renault product. I don't want to say too much about the product because it's not quite made it to market yet, but it's huge. And the whole of Bosch's process for this particular product was meant to be around a modularized core. And I asked them to draw a picture of the core, and they couldn't. And they made all sorts of excuses about why they couldn't draw it. And it was a simple functionality core, as far as I could see. You could hang lots of modules off it, but they couldn't draw it. And I find it fascinating as we go into how AI and machine learning will actually change our social interaction with products that we want to make using software, that we're not bringing people with us. They just don't have conceptually what we're trying to achieve in simple diagrams, which is how most of us learn.
I think part of Antonio's product and the whole visual modelers will start to make that more transparent and easier to understand. I think it's fantastic to have a technical person and a business person sat side by side looking at the same asset, which is directly generates the code and the actual processes themselves. So I think we're finding that one of our biggest selling points for low code is not the fact that it's more efficient, but it's that it combines and unites technical people and business people together for the whole development cycle. And it's a really good benefit.
Yeah.
But even actually, when I said that most value in AI is still in PowerPoint and all of that, it's actually low-key going into industry and all of these different places that you really don't realize it is there. For example, the previous company that I worked with before Gentinel is SVD, which they made factory floor optimization software and kind of like routing and bill of material optimization. And we actually sold it to a lot of the Finnish biggest food producers. So actually, they are using neural networks to optimize the production of liver casserole, for example, in Finland. So it's kind of low key going into all of these different industries and getting mainstreamed kind of through the back door, in a sense that you don't even notice that many of the companies are integrating some parts of AI into really typical day-to-day industry processes without anybody kind of noticing. And I think that's the way it goes with new technology. You get the hype, you get the PowerPoints, and then you get the low-key implementation, and then you start getting the really fancy implementations.
You get that. One thing that's come out of what you just said, which I think which is why I call the company culture, is that even today, as far as we've gone in industrial relations, as far as we've gone in industrialization, we still treat people as idiots. We still treat people as unknowing automatons, rather than recognizing that they are doing highly cognitive work. And that is, for me, the challenge, is that we don't do what Antonio and you guys are trying to do, which is say, okay, these people think for themselves, these people are intelligent, they're well trained. What we need to do is make that connection between business, the business and the factory just doesn't meet. And I use a factory word to
Yep.
Yeah, actually, like some of those processes of optimizing the routing, the machine learning algorithms don't produce optimal results, but people do. The guys who've been working on the factory for 20 or 30 years make a lot better decisions, but they cannot explain why. But that's the experience behind the whole optimization talk in there. Their neural networks have been pretty much trained.
I think it's the whole concept, isn't it? That technology won't solve your business problems. If people do that, technology helps them to achieve it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's still true.
It's an interesting topic. When in my previous company, we were dealing with fraud prevention, and so there was always the human element in there, and we always had to approach it. So you have this automation, you can predict fraud, you can suggest, you need to explain it, but then in the end, you have the fraud analysts that were using the tool. So we were kind of, and we had some interesting conversations. We learned a lot from those people who had some incredible insights. You know, the algorithm wasn't picking up some very stupid things. Some things it would actually pick up. So we had to really think how we can leverage both sides in a kind of a synergy that works. And it's not just about the algorithm. Is a lot about the user interface and the user experience and how we expose that information and that automation, which is something that sometimes gets ignored. You just have the algorithm, then you hand it off to someone. But I think there's a big part of working together with the product designers and the product people together with this technology and thinking about the end user, the fraud analysts or whatever humans who are being augmented, quote unquote, with this technology.
I think it's the balance as well, isn't it? So too many false positives and people get upset that they should have good credit, but they don't. And too many false negatives means people slip through the net, and that creates a risk. And it's trying to find the right balance of where you set those models.
I think one of the challenges we've had on one of our implementation projects is tacit knowledge of the employees. Many of them been there 25, 30 years. And it's for the edge cases. I think the modeling can handle day-to-day operations very, very well. But it's kind of when something out of the norm happens and you rely on people's experience. And that's what we need to try and capture and bring into our models now to say, well, actually, the reasoning behind this is X, Y, Z.
That's single point of failure, Ian. So we've worked with big distillers, and if the master blender gets a head cold, then everything stops. And it's really addressing that single point of failure, I think.
But
I think it's
a step in at that point if needed.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about quantifying all of these kind of previously fuzzy aspects. For example, with us, it's kind of quantifying the way you can kind of know if this release is good enough, for example, and kind of reduce the decision fatigue of the product owners, for example, like what we are aiming for. And I think the best feedback that we got from, for example, from one client was there was this really, old school PO who was saying that I don't need your software to do anything. This is pretty much crap because it has exactly the same information that I know in my head. So I think that was the best kind of praise that we could get, that we actually had the same information as that guy. So kind of like giving that leverage of actually quantifying that fuzzy feeling that you have in your head. I think that's the kind of thing that's happening now with all of the machine learning elements that we can do, is to kind of extract those links from there.
I think there was a story about. Sorry,
Matt, you say your thing first. I'd like to do a little bit of presentation training on this thing, on this tool, in a couple of seconds time. But Matt, say your thing first, and then I'll be boring.
I was just going to say that it's apocryphal, but I read about breath analyzers and testers in the early days, and something like they were 97% accurate. And then, but when they looked at a set of people, they said, well, only 2 out of 100 were actually over the limit. So just by saying everyone is not over the limit, then you're 98% accurate. So it's those single numbers that can sometimes be confusing, and we have to just understand what they actually mean.
Cool. So can I randomly, Henry, do you mind if I use you as a guinea pig, please, for a moment?
Okay.
At the bottom of the screen, you should see a couple of controls. One of them should be share screen. Can you see that somewhere?
Let me just open one web page. I think where you want me to show you guys.
The web page that you're looking at right now, hopefully, will have these controls at the bottom. You might need to. No, you shouldn't need to scroll. Is it not visible for you immediately?
If
Yeah,
you're on a Mac,
there it is.
if you're on a Mac, the bar may be over the.
Indeed.
I just found it underneath that
Okay.
bar. Yep.
Okay, cool. So if you press the share screen thing, let's just see if
Hey,
you
can you see
open
me?
up.
You're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. And oh yeah, now I can click this thing.
There should be like a share screen thing somewhere. That's it.
Yeah.
And I can now add that to the stream, and I just did.
Oh yeah, so you have the ad controls. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And if you wish, then you can. I think you need to come back into the.
Can I do this? This. And now I cannot add it back, so you can only add it, but I can remove it from the stream.
You can remove it from the stream. Yeah. So here we go. So that's that one. And then if you now jump into your PowerPoint, let's say if you
I don't have a PowerPoint, but can you see this?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's beautiful.
No.
And then the big idea now is that you can actually, I can move the other guys. I can move the other guys to the green room, and
Yeah. I think I need a second screen for this, so I can see the this screen that we now have and what I'm actually presenting. So there's now only me on the stream, and nobody else is here, and only my presentation is visible. Yeah.
Yeah, I just added myself back in just now, so that you can hear my voice. The other guys can hear us right now. They're in the green room, but they cannot talk. And you can now happily present. And in fact, during your presentation, I would probably remove myself because I'm sort of unnecessary. And I can change the layout in different ways like this.
Yeah, I think we can kind of agree on what layouts we want to use on what point.
I think you probably, my guess is that you'll probably agree that this is the best layout where...
Yeah, it probably is, yeah.
You can see the picture next to it, and you can see...
Yeah, and I can access the web pages and all of that. Exactly. Show off our nice little dashboards and nice little DevOps predictions and all of that. And release quality and yada, yada, and AI and...
Exactly. And when the next person comes in, I can just add the next person in like that, and vice versa. I can brutally just remove you so that you are now in the back room, and Antonio and I are now presenting. So Antonio, if you try to find that share button, Antonio, at the bottom right now, you should find something called share screen.
Yeah. It's asking for permissions. Let me just give that.
Okay, and I have.
All right. Oh, I need to exit and join back again.
Oh, and I realized that I actually, when I killed off Henri's. Did you? What do you need to exit? I don't think you should.
I need to exit. I need to exit. I need to exit and rejoin. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. No, because Mac it doesn't give permission to the browser for sharing, for getting access to the screen. So I'm just I have to restart it to get permissions.
Okay. So you are restarting the. Interesting. So let's see. So Antonio had to exit and come back in. That's something I haven't seen before. Let's see when Antonio comes back in. In the meantime, I'll add more people into the mainstream here.
Did I get kicked out totally from the studio when you moved me? It seems like I flew out at least. Or did you kick me out? I know my presentations are bad, but
That was quite funny. I accidentally kicked you out because I closed your presentation, and in closing your presentation, I did kick you out. But don't worry.
Can Antonio tell us what he? Because I have a Mac, and you've just manipulated me in and out. Can you not share the screen? Is that the issue?
No, the problem is that I'm using Microsoft Edge, and I just use it for some things, but it did not have the permission for me to share screen here. Right. So I had to give it to the system preferences and restart the app.
Interesting. So Microsoft Edge means you have to go into sysgraph and do share screen.
It would be the same for any browser if I had never used it and given it permissions for sharing screen, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm on a Mac and it seemed to work straight away.
No, I don't have another monitor at home. I ought to get one, really.
The thing is that I usually use Safari, but it doesn't work with this StreamYard, so I had to pick another browser that I rarely use, so I hadn't given it permissions.
Did you try Safari on this?
I tried Safari. It said you can't use that. You need to use Chrome, Firefox, or I don't know what.
Mozilla.
It actually said so. It actually told you.
Yeah, it told me.
Fascinating. Okay, so I haven't seen that problem with Safari before. Cool. Thank you for that. Cool. Okay, Michael, do you want to do the same thing, Michael?
Sure. So I don't have a presentation up, but I'll share my screen. I don't know what
I'll remove a couple of people in the meantime and put them into the green room.
So, there you go. I'm sharing that. Well, I don't know what. How do you know which screen you've selected? Can you see what I'm showing you?
Just a moment. I'm actually not seeing the screen that you're sharing with us at the moment, Michael.
No, I don't at the moment.
Are you seeing the DVC World Position post-pandemic article? No.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
So I'm not seeing what you're sharing with us. You found the share screen button at the bottom, yeah?
Yeah, and I press share. Oh, hang on, here we go. Your entire screen share. Right. Chrome has lost. It's now saying. I've got to think I've got the same problem that Antonio has. Even in Chrome, it doesn't like it. Right, so I just need to go into system preferences. That's what it seems to be telling me.
Are you on a PC, Michael, or are you on a?
No, on a MacBook.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, why don't I get this sorted out and then I'll come back in. I'll do that.
Yeah, Peter, if you want, you can test out with me now that I have it sorted out.
Yeah, just quickly, Antonio, can you tell me what you did? You just went into system preferences.
I can share my screen. I'll show you. We'll just test it like that.
Okay, great.
All right, let's do it. Okay, entire screen. Can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
No, we do.
Okay. All right, let me just go here.
Given that I'm the producer, I was. There you go.
Okay, so you go to System Preferences, Security and Privacy.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think you need to go Screen Recording. You need to go to Screen Recording, and you have to tick the Google Chrome's box.
Thank you.
And then it will say you'll need to restart it, probably.
Yeah. Probably. Thank you.
All right. All right, seems to be working. I'll stop sharing now, or do you want to kick me out? I actually have to go to another one at 9:30.
Okay, so we've got another 2 minutes from you, and then you gotta run. But Antonio, I think it's pretty clear. So these are the people that we're going to have. You know, there's scary people, and I think it's going to be a fun show.
Really
so we
fun.
have
I'm
18
excited.
I am actually really excited, I must admit. It's 18 really high caliber people talking about fascinating things. So I think it's going to be dead fun.
Yeah. So I have a question here. How do I look at, if I want, look at the, maybe I need to share another window. I want to look at the people. I don't know if I'm going to be seeing them while seeing my share screen instead of seeing this.
You would like to, are you saying that you'd like to see the audience, or are you saying that you'd like to see the fellow presenters, or what is it that you'd like to see?
Whoever is visible. So now everyone is visible here.
This is it. This is it. Everyone is visible.
Okay.
What you see is literally everyone right now. And if I add someone to this, I'm just adding more people to the stream right now. So there we are. This is it. The audience is actually seeing this.
But we're only seeing the presenters, not the audience.
You will never see the audience. You will always
see
the presenters.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So in the on Wednesday, on July 8th, I will actually use 2 screens.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to be looking at presenters or whoever is here, as well as the presentation on my side without it interfering.
Exactly, and it will be more simple because it'll just be sort of you and I and maybe one more person, but it's not maybe 3 people or something, but it's not going to be sort of 25 people.
Yeah.
This is the most difficult. And remember, the audience. We should think of this as presenting to each other among each other. So if it takes a moment to get set up, so what? Big deal. It's
Sure.
We just make it work.
Peter, do you want to go through the Q&A process quickly?
Sorry?
Going to go through the Q&A process very briefly.
Right, the Q&A process is, I know Antonio needs to leave, but super fast. So when people ask questions, all those questions will come to Ian and to Matt. Ian and Matt will then look at those questions and feed those questions to the speakers through the private chat. Alternatively, we might actually do it in such a way that Ian and Matt are on the call, so that you can actually ask. You can actually have a conversation. That might be the most elegant thing. In any case, when the questions come in, Ian and Matt will look at the questions and make sure that the right stuff is in the questions, because if we get 15 questions on the same subject, then we don't want to give you 15 questions on the same subject. It makes more sense to condense that down into one question. And then Ian and Matt, I mean, they're very experienced people, so they will know if you've answered the question or not, and they'll guide you.
If you haven't answered the question, we'll keep asking it. Don't worry.
Cool.
One thing that could be cool is you split the topics in the whole presentation into blocks that have like 6 people.
Yeah.
Could we have that block visible at that moment, for example? Could everybody be like there in the side panel at that point? Maybe it would make it seem like a bit more lively always, and then just change a block of people or something like that.
Definitely. Definitely.
Then it's much easier to present to you guys and not just the blank screen. It's typically something that happens in streams at some point, that you kind of doze out as you don't see any people and you're just talking by yourself. But when you have all the other people in there, that might be a big help also.
I agree.
Yeah. So I just made a banner. Can you see that thing there?
Yep.
Yeah. So the answer is yes to your question.
Yep.
And it's a good idea.
My little nice presentation insights with Henri podcast is here now.
Exactly. Cool.
I just wanted to show that alongside the banners thing, you can add people's questions that they have asked from YouTube directly into the stream. So I was commenting on the stream saying, I have questions. Please share my questions. And if you can share them like this, and that would be a great way for us to have our Q&A sessions, to be able to talk about individual questions that people have had.
Cool. So that's perfect. So Alice, Matt, Ian, you're going to be looking at that. And in the end, it will be conversational, and it will be easy. So it's going to be.
I have another question, just very quickly. So we have the presenters, and like Henry was suggesting, like have every presenter on that same block to be visible. So that's kind of a group thing. So you're going to, the 3 blocks are completely separate, right? So the presenters are different, and you will only be showing the presenters from that block, right? So the first.
Yes, there's a limitation there that all these tools, including Microsoft Teams live events, etc., and including this one, have a time limitation, a maximum stream length of some 5 hours, 6 hours, depending on which tool, 4 hours. So that means that what we'll do is we'll have one stream, which is the morning stream, and that will then terminate. That's a lovely word, straight from terminate. Then we'll have an overlap, and we start stream number 2, and then we have an overlap, and we start stream number 3. So we'll actually have 3 links. We'll have the morning, the midday, and the afternoon.
But if we join stream 1, for example, the first in the morning, we'll not appear. We'll be part of the audience. We'll not be presenters.
Correct. Whether or not you're a presenter, that's actually brutally totally up to me, because
Got it.
I can, as you can see, I can gently remove people and add people.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, thank you. I'll have to run. Sorry.
My screen now.
Try it. Antonio, you need to run, yes? So
yeah,
so
thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you, and looking forward to it. Bye.
Yeah, but thank you.
Bye. The one thing I was going to show I can't find, which was a presentation. Annoying. You don't want to see my inbox, the applications. Man, that is interesting, because I've got PowerPoint open, but I can't seem to really show it. All right.
Is it minimized, Michael? If it's minimized, it doesn't show in the application list. I think you have to have the window open.
Yeah. I've got it in presentation mode. I wonder if that. Let's see if that. So I've actually got it in presentation mode. No, it doesn't like whatever I'm doing.
I would not have it in presentation. I would probably just have it as a normal window, and share the full desktop is what I usually find easiest.
Yeah.
Just kill all the apps and share the full desktop.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can, when everybody's off the call, Peter, maybe you and I can have a play with that.
It's actually interesting for everyone to know, to discover what the problem is. So let's try for a couple of seconds together.
Okay.
So,
all right, well,
so you started by hitting that share screen button at the bottom, yes?
Yes. And then so I've also got, I may have a couple of competitive things, programs running in the background. So I'm just forcing those to quit and just seeing, but I've got the PowerPoint system open. I've got a PowerPoint up and running, and it doesn't seem to like showing this. I don't know why. Yeah, interesting. Sorry, let's try again. Okay, no, it definitely doesn't. It won't find it, Peter. I need to work out what it is. I'm obviously being a dunce. But,
no, I don't think you are at all, and that's the purpose of this whole thing, to try to work out what these problems would be. So I'm doing, in my case, I'm doing a share the entire screen right now. And there we go. So I don't know, you can see the whole thing that I've just opened up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just seeing whether if I shut down stuff, whether this. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to shut the PowerPoint and then reopen it and see if that makes a difference.
And I think we need to do a bit more MacBook trialing, Peter, and then perhaps, you know, share a short information on what we found. For example, granting permissions for screen sharing. There may be other people that aren't aware.
yeah.
I don't know. My sharing worked straight out of the box. Initially, it had the wrong camera in there, but
Yeah, I don't know why mine isn't working, because it should be.
actually, a good question about the camera that came in mind there. As there's a couple of different resolutions available for the camera. Do we want to set a standard or something, or do we just go with the?
Alex, you had a number. Was it 720 that you wanted to run?
720 is the highest, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the highest, isn't it?
720 is the highest. But if anybody at any point is having any issues with their internet speeds, I do suggest going into the settings and dropping it, because that is going to be the thing that chews up the bandwidth the most. So the way that you do that is that you just click on settings within StreamYards, and then you go down to the camera option, and then it will have camera, the name of the camera that StreamYards is currently using to film your face. So for me, it's FaceTime HD camera, yada, yada, yada. This is also where if you have a, if you would have a webcam, you could select that within there. And then beneath that is the camera resolution. So you've got standard resolution, high resolution, and low resolution.
Right.
For me currently,
and default is 480, I think.
Yeah, the default is 480, and to be honest, like, I think that we should. It would be nice to have everything in 720, but if 480 is, like, realistically based on how fast everyone's internet is, if that is more realistic, then we can go for that.
Stick on 480. Cool, got it.
So I think, can I just try sharing this the screen with you again, because I think I've got it up and running now.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Ian's trying to green screen himself. You need to have a green background, Ian.
We've got something functioning.
That's working.
Can you see? Everyone can see that, can they?
What did you do, Michael?
Yep.
I just all I did was so if I put it into presentation mode, which it's now. Oh, there you go. Can you all see that? Full screen.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So all I did was shut the program down, Peter, and restart. And I just think it would, going back to Antonio's point earlier, I think there were some security things that, you know, unless you restart and shut down the computer and restart it again, it doesn't always accept everything that you've done. So I can shut this. Everyone's happy. Everyone can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool.
And now you're back in normal mode again, and now we can put you over like that, or whichever version that we wish to have. So
actually, can I do this? Yes, I can.
I don't know what you did, but I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I have one of those difficulties that, as Peter knows, that my MacBook, which isn't that old and it was top of the range, just won't support virtual backgrounds. Just won't do it. I don't know why.
Cool. All right. So that's where we are. This is what we got, and we discovered some new things, and I think it's really good to discover these things now instead of doing it live on Wednesday next week with a couple hundred people watching us.
And we're going for the default 480, are we?
I think so, unless you feel confident about your internet line, then
Yeah.
I think we should stick with the default as far as possible.
Yeah, and if your computer is struggling with speeds and stuff, I would drop it down to the lower resolution one as well.
Well, I have a pretty slow internet line where I am, and I've been doing everything on the default so far, and it's been working fine for me. So I think that's pretty cool. And Henry, do you have a gigabit line or do you have 100 megabit?
Yeah, I have a gigabit.
Yeah, it's so bloody annoying.
Story when you had fibre put to you in the village you used to live in Cookham. You had fibre put in, and they just kept the paired wire from the box to your flat. Which
BT sold me fiber optic where I used to live previously, and the deal with fiber optic was that it was delivered to a copper wire. It's just mind-boggling. And,
you don't even want to know how much I'm paying for the gigabit line.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Actually, Henry, no. Don't do it. It's going to hurt.
Go on, Henry, tell us. What is it?
It's actually bundled into my rent, so it's like €5.
Wow.
Outrageous. I'd ask you my money back if I were you.
So I've spent hours bartering with Virgin to get them down to £40 for 300 megabit, and that was hours of my life arguing with an engineer. So you've done pretty well now.
Wow. Amazing.
I must admit, we're pretty good here. I mean, BT provide our speed, and it's good. You know, I went to 720, and no one said they could see me, and my machine didn't throw a wobbly on it. Apart from obviously not being able to present, but that was a different issue.
I'm on Virgin here, and the good thing is that if no one else is using the line, it's really fast. It's fiber optic, and the bad thing is that everyone else does use the line. Because even though there's fiber optic local, they have some ADSL technology not very far from here, which means that it's still sort of ultimately it's bandwidth sharing.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Yeah.
In that case, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone. I think this has been really, really useful to understand where the difficulties lie. We now know that it works perfectly for Antonio, for Henry, for Michael, and you guys have been introduced to each other. You're going to meet 15 additional people, also of terrific caliber throughout the whole show. So it's going to be great fun.
And Peter, you want us all to do it on this platform, do you? You're not going to have anybody in the venue.
I'm going for I'm trying to get the venue done, but with the venue, we will use this technology at the venue.
Okay.
So that debate is still open. We still have a debate within the company because of COVID, of course. Can we actually do this responsibly with the venue? So that debate. But the fact is that we do have something that works now with this technology, which means.
So one other thing for belts and braces, Peter, is I will send you a copy of the few slides I'm going to use. It won't be a mountain.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Same with you, Henry. Please, if you can throw over the things that you're looking to provide, that would be terrific.
Can you quickly share that? Yeah. Sort of just seeing how it works. I set up my screen in a bit of a strange way, but it seems like now I can see what I'm presenting, but it's still the wrong shape. So can I do this?
That's to do with your monitor, isn't it? The way you've got your monitor orientated.
Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I'm using virtual monitors. I was just testing that. Can I do?
But if you put it into presentation mode with speakers notes, that should just come to us as a presentation, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But as I'm running one screen with virtual monitors, it's a bit iffy. But yeah, I can get it. Maybe get it to work. But I'm going to do it from my home with enough monitors to get the streaming setup done.
Right. Peter, I've got another call at 10, and I appreciate
All right.
much you inviting me to this. So
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you. Take care.
Bye.
Peter,
Yep.
are you sending out a full invitation with all the links?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Okay. Alice, lovely to see you.
Good to see you too.
And your hair has changed colour so much. I can't believe it. When it said Alice in the bottom, I was looking at you going, "What's happened?" All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right.
So one thing is that if I want to do live comments, I'm going to have to do those from the YouTube side. I think I cannot do them from this side in any way.
Yeah, so in terms of the comments, all of the comments that come from here, from StreamYard appear as the broadcaster. So I just typed that and that turned up as Peter Carlson having written that. So to be able to comment as myself, I have to go onto the actual live stream and comment stuff. And there's still that 20-second delay on the live stream. So
Of course, it buffers. So the live stream is buffered by 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's just that I don't see any. I think that's just for you guys who have some special producer rights or something to even do the commenting with as Peter Carlson. As I cannot even do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that.
They can. I don't have any kind of button or anything on the right side to comment on the live comments. I can see the private chat and comment on there. Then on this side, I cannot even comment anything.
Okay. Yeah. So for us, we have producers rights clearly, because for us, we can. For us, we have comments here with all of the YouTube comments, and we can post comments as the broadcaster. And then there's stuff like banners that we can add, take away, and then like brand things that we can add and take away from the stuff, and then private chat.
So I'll figure it out. So I think I'll need to have 3 monitors to have the actual YouTube stream also in there if that's needed to comment on some of the other like what do you say, other presentations on the same pod.
Yeah, and if you do that, when you do that, the remember the audio feedback thing. So put the YouTube thing on turn off the speaker on that one, because otherwise
actually I think I then have to switch to the YouTube audio as it's delayed, so I don't the comments are kind of make sense at that point.
The comments are delayed with the with the YouTube stream, in the same way that if I when I commented on YouTube as well, that there was a there was also a delay for it to turn up here as well. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a fun thing.
Brilliant.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Have fun. All right.
Bye.
See you.
Hej.
Sådär, det var det.
Stort succé!
Ja, jag tycker det faktiskt. Vi hoppar över på Dream Team och kollar in vad läget är där tillsammans med Isi också. Okej.
Coolt. Hej. Jag ska gå och hämta en kopp kaffe också, så jag tar typ 1 minut extra.
Okej, perfekt. Bra. Hej. Hej.